that's what's gonna happen. Oh man, I'm gonna regret this. Hey, I'm Rachel, this is Let Me in the Library, and today I will be reflecting on 2021 and looking forward into the future to see what I think 2022 will hold and talk a little bit about my goals for the year. Before we actually get started, I would love it if you could complete a bit of a challenge for me. I would love it if you would comment one good thing that happened in 2021. There's a lot of focus on negativity on social media very often, and I just think it would be very nice to start off the year just by thinking of one good thing that happened in 2021. It could be something that you accomplished. It could be a great new TV show that you discovered. Anything at all. So please do comment that down below, and then I'm going to get right into the video. So this video is going to be kind of broken down into a couple of different sections. First off, I'm going to have the reflection of the 2021 goals and also looking at how that translates to 2022. And then I will also have a section of this video talking about life changes for me. I'll also be talking about my favorite moments of 2021, and that's going to be a video, and then you can go subscribe or whatever. So I have a collection of goals that I wrote down in my bullet journal at the beginning of the year. One of those goals on that list, finish the series that I've started. I sort of did that. Some of the series that I've started are definitely way too long for me to actually finish. Some of them aren't even complete yet. So in that case, I wouldn't say that that's necessarily anything to say against my commitment to this goal. So some of the series that I finished City of Brass, I finished a series of Unfortunate Events for my reread, I actually finished Attack on Titan, which was a 33-volume manga, I finished the Cruel Prince series, which actually sparked the Fantasy Series book club, and I've loved that because that has definitely helped me to actually read a bunch of different series that I probably wouldn't have picked up anytime soon and see them through for the live shows. So from that, I read the Villains series, which was really fun, and I actually just finished the Bridge Kingdom series. I didn't finish the third one since that one is a bit more optional, I guess you could say, but it is definitely, getting me into the mood to keep finishing the things that I've started. Read-alongs, book clubs, stuff like that has definitely helped me out to accomplish these goals. I also finished Heartstopper, the Adventure Zone for everything that's out so far. I finished the Grishaverse series, which took me so long, but I finally did it. I finished the Nevermore series. I finished Warcross, We Hunt the Flame for the Fantasy Series Book Club, and I also just finished reading the Wayward Children series as far as everything that's out now, and the Brown Sisters trilogy as well. So out of the books that I think BookTube cares about that I didn't finish, I did not finish Long Way to a Small Angry Planet, that Wayfarer series. I only read 2 books from, and I only read 3 books out of the entire Skullduggery Pleasant series, and I've also only read the first book in the Mistborn Era 1 series. There were some manga series, and I did not get around to finishing those, but they're manga, and they're usually very, very long series, so I don't feel necessarily too bad about that, and there are definitely still things that I could pick up in 2022, so I am still continuing on with that goal to finish series in 2022. My next goal was to read more middle grade. I did that a bit. I read the Nevermore series, and I really enjoyed that, and I picked up a few more middle grade along the way. I read A Wolf for a Spell, and I really, really enjoyed that, and now I think it's definitely something that I'm more able to pick up and get into the mindset of. I also had a goal to read more nonfiction. I love nonfiction a lot, but I just feel like I don't really prioritize it that much, and this year I definitely read a lot more. I did join the Nonfiction Baddies book club, which was started by Casey and Mafalda, and that has been very helpful for me to pick up a nonfiction book at least once every 2 months for their live show. Just really enjoyed reading those books that I probably would not have necessarily prioritized in my TBR if not for that book club. So again, book clubs, a lifesaver. I also had some goals to read some more sci-fi, fantasy, and horror. I think I have read that a bit more this year. I haven't read as much sci-fi as I would have liked, but I did definitely read a bit more fantasy and felt like I could really fall in love with the genre. I loved reading Priory of the Orange Tree this year. That was definitely more of an epic fantasy, and I loved it so much. It was such a great experience to kind of just get sucked into the world and feel like I could not stop reading. When it strikes my fancy, I think I can pick it up without feeling like I have to make it a specific goal, because now it's something that I do actually enjoy reading a lot. I used to be very afraid of horror. I felt like I'm a scaredy cat. Anything I read is going to be very, very, very terrifying if it's not just a thriller, but if it is pure horror. Not a super significant amount, but I think I read enough that now I am not afraid of the genre anymore. Maybe the creepiest thing that I read this year was a scene in Ring Shout, and something about it just really chilled me to the core, where it was so scary and terrifying to think about that I was like, oh my god, I had to hurry up and finish this book so I can go read something else because I'm afraid of that. But I did read a bunch of, other books here and there, and I think it helped me get more immersed in the genre and feel less, intimidated by it. I had a goal that is carrying over to 2022, and that is to read more of my owned TBR. I don't really feel like I accomplished this. I definitely want to keep up with this goal, and I think maybe try to read a good chunk of my actual own TBR because I've been acquiring a lot of books. I have a lot of really, really wonderful friends and they keep sending me really great books, but I have not really sunk into them and read them. So I don't necessarily want to make it like I have to read X many owned TBR books per month. I don't want to put any unnecessary pressure to do a certain number of anything per month, but I do think that it's something I want to be more mindful of when I'm picking books to read. Also had the goal to host a readathon. I accomplished this goal. This was very, very scary to me at the beginning of 2021 because I saw some people hosting readathons and they seemed so fun, but I had no idea where to start. So I came up with the idea for a readathon that actually never happened. And maybe it'll still happen someday, but I, got all these people together, but because there was just like so much extra planning that I had to do and having to like push everything out and make it all happen with a group that was kind of like waiting for me to answer all the questions was not really like conducive to starting out for a readathon. Over time, I kind of figured out the kinks of how to do readathons. So by the time 2021 rolled around, I had a better sense of how not to do a readathon, I think. Luckily, it kind of fell into my lap that Manda from Ginger Snapped Reads really wanted to host a readathon in, I think it was March, for Tinkerbell, for all of the Tinkerbell people that are in Pixie Hollow. So it was really fun. It kind of just worked out that I was invited to be part of this readathon and I learned how to make Discords and I became the Discord lady and the readathon lady because once that started, it was like a switch was flicked and I suddenly was like, oh my God, this is the best thing ever. I love this so much. And then I was also invited to work on the Studio Ghibli readathon and that was really, really fun as well. Of course, very soon after came my favorite readathon ever and that is Read or Dare. Read or Dare was an idea that was conceived like a month or two before it actually happened. And it was kind of just waiting until all of the people involved, that would be Christine and Mo from the Ruby's Digest and Noelle from Noelle 7 Pages and myself, we all had these specific channel goals. And we aren't really like big numbers people, but it just kind of felt like a great way to celebrate milestones. So it was really cool because Christine and Mo hit 3K. Noelle and I hit 1K within like a day or so of each other. And all of this happened right around the time that we were thinking about announcing the readathon and just kind of like waiting for the milestones to be met to celebrate. We were really, really grateful that it kind of worked out that way. And then we were able to make this really cool readathon that I think has become one of our favorite things ever. For folks who maybe did not tune into Read or Dare or are not really sure what it is, this is a readathon that basically is not about reading at all, but it's more so about community. It was this idea to not really focus so much on the numbers of like reading this thing or completing this prompt or anything like that, but it was just kind of like a fun, very unique thing that we'd never seen on BookTube before that we just wanted to try out and see what would happen. So we got together a bunch of friends. They were so down for it, and that was so fantastic to see. And we got together and we made this challenge wheel with all of these weird dares on them, and we traded books. We sent the other hosts a book each, so each of us came out with 3 books, and it was just the most fun time. I vlogged that, and it's one of my favorite videos that is on my channel now. It was just such a great, fantastic time, and like we've done it 3 times now, because we did it for Read or Dare in June, we did Read or Scare in October, and we just did Read or Cheer right before New Year's Eve. And it was just so much fun. Every time that we do it, I have such a great time, but I do think like there really is nothing quite like the first time that we did it because it was so brand new and everybody was so excited to try something like that. And we had such fun, weird dares going on and kind of like the added drama of like, can I read these books before the end of the readathon? It definitely made me feel like I am in a community that is really, really cool, that jumps onto these ideas the way that I do, where I think that this is really fun. I think this is really exciting and other people do too. And it's just very gratifying to feel that way and to bring something like this to life out of a simple idea. And there are, so many ideas that I still have for new readathons. And I have some ideas that did not quite make it out to you yet. I'm still workshopping them. I also was part of the Peppathon, which was a Peppa Pig readathon. I was going to vlog that as well. I think I do have a vlog, but I just never made it out to the internet. But I did post an announcement video for that. Readathons can be anything. They can be very silly and they can just be a really fun time with your friends. And they don't have to be overly complicated. You can make most of the graphics in Canva and you watch a couple of videos on how to set up a Discord and you're pretty much good to go. If you have the right people in your group, there's nothing that you can't do. If anybody wants maybe a video on like how to host a readathon, how to come up with a readathon idea and, see it through to fruition, let me know and I could talk about that as well. Next up, I have a goal that I did not accomplish, not quite, and that was to read more ebooks and physical books. Yes, I technically did read more ebooks and physical books, but not nearly to the degree that I really wanted to. I wanted to be able to just pick up a book and read it physically and not worry about having to acquire an audiobook copy somehow, but I still compulsively look only for audiobooks, and if I can't find an audiobook for it, I think I'm far less likely to actually read those books, and that really stinks because I have so many really cool books on my shelves and I simply don't pick them up because I can't find an audiobook for them to like accompany me. I really love audiobooks, I really do, and they're so helpful because I can do other things at the same time, so I feel like I can listen to them and still be productive with something else, so I'm able to read a lot of books, but at the same time, I don't necessarily think that I'm getting everything that I could out of the book. While audiobooks are fantastic and they're really accessible for people who aren't able to read physical books, I know that I get a lot more out of a book by reading it with my eyes than listening to it with my ears while I'm literally distracted doing something else. I don't necessarily think that my ratings are like wrong per se. Like I still think that they reflect the enjoyment that I had reading the book, but I think that there is still a bit more that I could get out of books by reading them with my eyes, and I think that that's something that I need to prioritize a bit more. So it is carrying over to 2022. I did have a goal to participate in Believe-a-thon. 2021 had the last round of Believe-a-thon ever. I did technically participate by reading a book for Believe-a-thon. Eventually, I read Hollowpox, and I think I finished it right around the time that the readathon ended, but I just don't really feel like I was able to really truly participate in terms of attending reading sprints or like any, community-based stuff. Like if I do a readathon, I kind of expect to participate by communicating with other people who are in the readathon and like talking with them about what's going on, picking out my prompts, maybe making like a TBR card or something like that at the very least, submitting points, anything like that, and I just don't think I did any of that stuff, unfortunately. That was a very, very busy time in my life, which I will get to with the life section of this video. I also had a goal to make more time for videos. I do think I've made some more time for videos. You would not believe, based on what you see on my channel where I release like 1 or 2 videos a month, but I'm telling you, I have so many video ideas laid out. I have an Excel spreadsheet of video ideas laid out by date, and they just keep getting pushed down week by week by week by week. And there's still like a lot going on behind the scenes that people maybe don't see. And so it seems like I'm not working on anything, but I promise that I am. I promise that I'm always thinking of you. I really am. I am always working on my little spreadsheet of like, what video can I make next? What would the people want? What do you guys want? I put polls out and I'm like, oh my God, now I have to do that. And the creative juices are always flowing up here. I promise. It's just, they don't always make it quite out to you on time, and then I feel like I can't post them. So trying to let go of that energy. I'm trying to post stuff, not care too much about what day it is when I'm posting stuff. I'm just gonna throw it out into the universe, and hopefully other people will embrace it the way that I embrace the idea. I also had a goal to make bullet journal videos. I did this for a little bit, but every time that I missed a month in producing the video, it definitely got me down because I felt like I was not on schedule, I was not on track, I was not organized enough to get it out. You kind of have to like allot a certain number of pages for the rest of your month and then start planning your next month in advance. But it has to be on camera, it has to be like perfectly laid out. If you have to leave and go do something else and come back, you have to still have everything in the right spot so that the video doesn't look bad when you pick it back up again. I like to listen to an audiobook while I bullet journal, but it's very hard to balance all of those things and get it all done, just the video part. And then you still have to edit it, put some music underneath, make sure the music is not copyrighted, do a voiceover. And honestly, I love making those videos, but they take so long that I just don't think that making monthly Bujo videos is necessarily in the cards for me. I'd still probably like to try it occasionally, but I don't want to hold myself to that pressure. So instead, what I've been doing is Bujo Babe sprints, and those are monthly sprints for working on your bullet journal. And usually I do these with Julia and sometimes with Christine and with Steph, and it's just been a fun, low stress, low commitment way to still make bullet journal spreads and to still kind of have like a bit of a community. I do think that the Bujo Babe sprints are really fun, and I'd love to continue doing those, so keep looking out for those. And if you need a way to work on your bullet journal, those are the sprints for you. The last real goal that I had, other than my Goodreads goal, was 1K subscriber energy. The way that I describe this, I guess, is the idea that even if you aren't at the subscriber goal that you want, and if you're really concerned about the numbers and you feel like I should be monetized by now, or I should have 1,000 subscribers by now, or 10,000 subscribers by now, or whatever it is, to just kind of like do the things that you want to do, regardless of the numbers. The things that you exude, the personality that you exude, often attracts the things that you want. Not in like the secret kind of way, but just if you just are constantly saying like, oh, I wish I had 1,000 subscribers, but I don't. Everybody please subscribe to me so I get 1,000 subscribers. And then you hit 1,000 and then you're still not satisfied. That's definitely, a pure feeling of insecurity and feeling like you have to be more and more and more, and you're going to push yourself and burn out. And that's not ever something that I want to put myself in the position of if I can avoid it. So for me, it was always more so saying, I don't feel like I'm allowed to produce this kind of content until I hit a certain number because nobody would care. And that was the way that I felt at the beginning of 2021. I have definitely like a lot of friends that absolutely do care, but I just did not feel like I was going to be happy with the numbers if I posted like a Q&A thing and like nobody responded. So I was like, like, not to say like if this flops, nobody saw it, but that was basically what it was all about. So the idea was to still do the things that I wanted to do regardless of if I had the numbers to back me up, and it worked. Anybody can start a channel, and some people blow up and some people don't, and like 1,000 subscribers is not really like blowing up, but at the same time it's a big number and I'm very grateful. Sometimes your channel just has its ups and its downs. Sometimes it feels like nobody's watching. Other times it feels like you're in a slump and you don't know how to create content anymore, and it's nice that people still stick around and comment and watch my stuff. And sometimes I just look at my comment section and I think like, people are commenting. Like, people are like taking their time out of their day to watch my video and then to comment the way that they feel. And in a world where people are constantly commenting on everything and sharing their opinions here and there, it may not seem like much, but when you are the content, when you made it, you filmed it, you edited it, you made a thumbnail, you spent hours on this thing, and people then watch it and they absorb it and then they respond to it. It feels good. It feels great to feel like you are not just pushing things out into the void, but the void is answering back, and it's full of great, wonderful people, and it just makes me very happy. It always kind of feels weird if you don't grow at a steady rate, probably, but to me, I definitely think the friends that I've made and the responses that they have to the things that I create, and being able to be friends with people that make really cool stuff, is my favorite part of what I do here. That is more of like the energy that I want to have. Just general appreciation for the people who make things. More love, less focus on numbers, and more so on the people. The last goal that I have is to read 365 books. A book for every day of the year. And I did it, bitches. I think my first original goal for the year was like to read 52 books. I think I hit that in February. And then I think I changed my goal to like 200 books, and I hit that. And then 300 books, and then I hit that. And then at some point I went, what if I could actually read 365 books? That seems wild. Like, there's no way I could do that. Or is there? So I did it. I just read my 366th book, and here we are, and I've done it. And I feel good that I could do that, but I do think that it's a dangerous slope, because it makes you feel like anything that you accomplish is not quite enough, and you could make it more and more and more and more and more until it's less about the content of the books and more about the quantity of books that you can read in a year. It's definitely something that so many people in the community care about, for reading a certain number of books, but then have to later realize that they shouldn't care about it, and they step away from it, and then they just seem happier and less stressed. If I look at the number of books that really left a huge impact on me, you know, it's hard to say that the number that I read was justified. At the same time, it's hard to say that I would find the number of books that I thought were really fantastic without reading a lot of books. So I don't think my goals have changed in terms of saying like, I'm not going to say like, I'm only going to read 100 books, because I think I just have that competitive spirit in me that I'm going to keep reading and reading and reading and reading a wild number of books in 2022. But at the same time, I do kind of have the goal to read less. So I'm going to talk about that in a second. Okay, so 2022 goals. We already talked about finishing series, reading my own TBR, reading more physical and e-books. So those are absolutely on the list for sure. On top of that, I have some additional goals that I have not mentioned at all yet. I want to read books that my friends recommend to me. There's so many books people recommend to me, and I go, oh my god, that sounds good, I'm going to read that, and I add it to a specific shelf on Goodreads, but I don't really pick them up in succession. There's something really special about somebody taking time out of their day to give you a personalized recommendation, and it would just be a really great way to get to know my friends a little bit better on the topic that we're all here for. Okay, this is a bit of a scary goal for me. I kind of feel I need to read my TBR veterans, and I need to do it Priory style. If you've watched my Priory of the Orange Tree vlog when I went on my first business trip, that was my experience picking up Priory of the Orange Tree, a very large book that I had been putting off for over a year at that point. And to the suggestion of my dear friend Christine, she said, what if you make it a challenge, make it a game? So you have to read the book by the end of the month, or else you have to give a book away. And I thought, oh, that's fun. So I can do like a nice little giveaway for people if I don't finish the book. And she said, you should give away a book that you own. And I went, oh my god, I don't want to do that. And she went, exactly. That's going to make you read that book. So it was a great motivator. And then it ended up that I loved the book. I loved that book. And I probably wouldn't have if I had read it very slowly over the course of many months, because it's complicated. There are so many characters. There are so many different things in play at once. So reading it very quickly, basically almost entirely in 1 week, was very, very good for me. So I think doing something like that again with my TBR veterans to finally just get them read might be the way forward. I'm not going to do it with every single one of them, but I probably will do it with quite a few of them over the course of the year. That's what's going to happen. Oh man. I'm gonna regret this. Let's get back to that whole thing about reading less. So I do want to read less. I don't think I'm going to read any specific number of books. I'm probably gonna set something on Goodreads, but I don't think it's like a hard and fast number that I'm gonna stick to. But I do want to read less, because there are so many other interests that I have outside of reading that I never take time for. Even basic things like self-care. Like, I don't really watch movies or TV shows or anything for fun. Do you know how badly I want to get into K-dramas and I just don't have time for them because I'm always reading books? And the unnecessary pressure that I put on myself to read so many books so that way I can make so many videos, but I can't make the videos because I'm too busy reading the books that are for the video. I don't necessarily want to read a super high number of books and then make that something I need to be stressed about for the entire year. So I'm not really going to be doing that. I think I'm just going to take it a day at a time and read what I can. I'm probably going to be making TBRs still, but they're not going to be as long. They're probably just going to be a handful of books. I'll probably still be doing my TBR game, and when I can, I will try to do TBR in my car, but I just don't think that they will be as lengthy, because reading 40 books in a month is something I've definitely done, but it's not something I'm going to do every month, and it's not something I want to do every month either. So in case anybody is wondering about the non-bookish content that I want to do over time, I have a little list over here for me. I really want to try DMing. I want to watch anime. I want to play video games. Potentially stream video games on Twitch. I don't know. Maybe. I want to be able to make music. I want to be able to watch TV, watch movies, watch K-dramas. I want to be able to paint. Potentially traveling if situations get better. I also probably want to try learning a language again. Most likely I will be focusing on Japanese because I have potential to travel there eventually in the future if I can learn the language. It is pretty contingent on me knowing the language if I travel there. As a goal, specifically, want to make more videos. I have not made that many videos in terms of what I think I could be producing per month. Maybe start doing reaction videos. I think that those could be pretty fun. Wrap-ups. Maybe you could finally hear what I think about any book ever. Maybe, just like anything other than just TBRs and readathon announcement videos. Anything else. I'm also finally thinking about doing a Q&A. If people want to ask me questions or something, I would be down to answer them. So anything in particular, any kind of videos that you want to see from me, definitely let me know. Let me know in the comments. Probably a couple other people out there can relate to, but I need to spend a little bit less time looking at my phone. I need to spend a lot less time looking at Twitter. But I think less screen time and less mindless scrolling in general. I spend an unbelievable amount of time on my phone. I spend an unbelievable amount of time just looking at things that immediately leave my mind. And I think that it's okay to do, but it's not something I want to spend hours on doing every single day. I need to really effectively use my time on Earth for things that I'm interested in, the things that I have to do, and then the rest of my time should be mine and should not belong to Twitter. My last goal for 2022 is to finally join Book Talk. I've been very resistant to joining TikTok for a while, but I did make a TikTok account a little while ago, and I just kind of want to try it. I just want to see what it's like to produce content like that. It would be very, very different from YouTube, but I think it would be pretty fun. And hopefully it will not totally destroy the previous goal to stop spending time on the internet when I could be doing other things, but I guess we'll see. I guess we'll find out. Which goal will win? Vote now. Okay, let's move on to the next part of this video, which is talking about big life changes. In 2021, I went on my very first business trip. I went to Colorado and I went for a conference, and it was really fun. I really loved it, and it definitely opened my eyes to the possibilities of work, of what I was doing with my life, and I would love to be able to travel to visit people more often, and the fact I kind of went on a pretty solo trip for work was really exciting. And in the end, that actually led to a brand new job. So I very recently quit my job and I am starting at a brand new place. I'm still going to be an engineer. I'm going to be working with software that I'm really, really interested in, that I've really, really enjoyed using at my old company. Feels really weird to say my old company. I have a brand new salary, which is really cool as well. And I feel like I have a better handle on my personal finances, on a sense of independence, and just kind of the sort of life that I want. I had a lot of ideas of what I thought that I wanted, and I think a lot of that has changed just in this past year alone. And I'm very grateful that I had the opportunity to make this job change, and then to also experience other things in my life, in my personal life, to really understand what I want, and to also really appreciate the people that I have and the things that I have, and all that sappy kind of stuff. It's scary, to be honest, to quit my job. I started at this company and I have never quit a real full-time job before. I'd only quit part-time jobs before that for school or other things, but this was my first time quitting a full-time job, and it was a bit scary. And I was worried about if people would be upset that I was leaving because the company I'm working for has a relationship with my old company. So I was a bit concerned that people would be upset. There was a bit of like back and forth that I wasn't really sure what was going on, but in the end, I was very grateful to find out that people were okay and they were not mad at me. Also really happy because I think this is the year that I knew I found my people on BookTube. You know, I have so many fantastic friends in real life, but meeting people who have the like very, very specific interest in books like I do, and then being able to talk for hours about books is not something that you can usually do with a lot of people in your real life. I have a couple of friends that are like that IRL, but for the most part, everybody that I can talk for hours on end about random books and just say, oh my God, I'm reading this right now. Have you heard about this? Have you heard about that? And for them to actually say, yes, I've heard about that. Oh, please tell me all about it. It's very rare. It's very rare out here in the wild. It doesn't happen that much. So it's very cool to meet people like that online and to keep meeting more of them, and to also meet people that like I never thought even like knew I existed or would like touch me with a 10-foot pole, where I was like, you are too like good for me. Like you don't know me. I'm a little speck and you are the sun. But it's cool to meet those people. And then as soon as we make that connection, it's like, why did I ever think that we couldn't be on level playing field here? Because you're just a person and I'm just a person. We could be friends. So that's been really cool. And also being able to meet my BookTube friends in real life. I've gotten to meet quite a few of them IRL. And first, the BookTube friend that I met in person was Casey. And when we met up and had ramen. And we both just had this moment looking at each other from across the table like, I'm meeting you. You are that person in the YouTube video that I watch all the time, that I've been on live shows with. But that's you in the flesh right there. That is you. Like, oh my God. And it was so great because we had the exact same energy that we always did, talking to each other all the time. Just saying like, oh my God, I gotta tell you about this book. Or, oh my God, did you hear about this thing? And being able to translate that to, you know, being right there in person with the other person was really cool. Oh, I never actually mentioned this on my channel, but channel-wise, channel news, Let Me in the Library channel news, a while ago, I got monetized. And that's why you see ads sometimes on my videos. So wow. No, maybe the people watching this aren't too happy that sometimes there are ads on this video, but thank you anyway, because if you were not watching this stuff, if I had not hit the certain like subscriber amount and the 4,000 hours to get monetized, I would not be able to make the $13 that I have today from the video ads. Thank you so much. Like, actually, thank you. Sometimes I do look at the number just like, what? There's that many people who are watching this thing that are like subscribed to this channel? Like, for real? Is this like, huh? But it's really, really cool. It's really, really great for every single one of you to still be here, to still hang out with me. And I do genuinely, seriously, really appreciate it. A lot of YouTubers, I think, have to always talk about like how I don't care about the numbers and I don't care about this and that. But there's still some part of you that's like, hey, that's cool. That's cool that I got a sponsorship. That's cool that I got monetized. That's cool that I have this number and I don't take any of it for granted. Let's move on to the favorite moments part of the video. This is your chance to post your comment if you haven't already about your favorite moment of 2021 or a cool moment of 2021, something like that. And I am going to talk about mine. Something really cool that I never mentioned on my channel before was I was on a podcast, and that was really cool. Before I was super into books, I was super into podcasts. I had a gigantic Google Doc of all the podcasts that I would recommend to friends. And one of my dreams was to one day be on a podcast or make a podcast or something like that. I ended up making a BookTube channel, which is kind of like a visual podcast, but I still thought it would be so cool to be on a podcast. And then one day I got a very cool email to basically come be on a podcast. And the podcast is called Books to Last, and it's really great. This podcast invites people who are very into books to come on and talk about 5 books that they would bring to a desert island or some other secluded area, and they would be the 5 books that you would have to read for the rest of your life, and that's all that you have. I guess I was very nervous, but it was so fun. Jordan was like very relaxing and like calming for me. Like, she did not put too much pressure on me, and I felt like we were just old friends having a conversation, even though we had never talked before that moment. And it was really fun. It was really great. Technically, I would say 2 of the books that I listed on that podcast are probably not accurate anymore. One of which I had since reread and went, oh my God, I never noticed that this had things in it that I no longer approve of. And then the other one being that I was just doing my Series of Unfortunate Events reread, and I said, oh, I would totally bring the last book with me because that's just the book that I was on next. But my real answer would be the book before that, The Penultimate Peril, which I'm proud to say that some of my friends guessed. But anyway, it's great. There are so many cool booktubers that are on the Books to Last podcast. Some of my friends run that podcast. I highly recommend it. Other fun moments for me were absolutely the readathons I was a part of, not just Read or Dare, although that is definitely a huge one, but also, you know, being a part of these readathons with friends. They were so fun just to plan, like stuff with the Tinkerbell readathon where we came up with the map and what each of the hosts' fairies would be, and making the videos for that, and just having like this cute little community of all these people who were involved in that. It was so much fun just to plan it and to make it happen. That was the first readathon that I was a part of, so it was definitely very special to me. The Studio Ghibli readathon was also really fun. I feel like we did so much for that readathon. It was very involved. I had like a music bot in the Discord. Christine made these really, really beautiful TBR cards, and it was really fun. We were streaming movies every week, and it was such a cute idea to come up with. I think that was Nicole's idea, and it was really cute and really fun, and I loved it. Of course, there's Read or Dare, obviously. Who did not remember the iconic hashtag Get Pierced moment? Fantastic. I loved Mo's Mad Lib from Read or Dare, or when we had to do the Fresh Prince raps. Those were all so much fun. Speaking of live shows, I guess, the Whiners Book Club, all of the live shows that we've been on have been so much fun, I have to say. When we did the Conviction live show and we ended up seeing a certain author rating a book 5 stars that we all absolutely hated. It was very interesting. It was very enlightening for that experience. The Conviction live show is one that just lives on in infamy. That was such a great show because everybody absolutely hated that book so much. It was a horrible book. I also loved the Yoke discussion. We had Casey on for that show, and that one was so interesting because we just had a very in-depth conversation of what we thought about the book, the meaning behind it, all of like the symbolism on top of that when we talked about the Lost Apothecary, and we just had the opposing opinions. But by that point, you know, we've been doing this for over a year, and you know, you just have like a certain amount of camaraderie that exists between all the hosts, and it's just so much fun to go there and discuss that stuff with my friends. So I just love doing the Whiners with them. I had a series of live shows for my birthday where we did reading sprints and we played Among Us, and this was so stupid and funny. Playing Among Us, and I think we had to open the room because we didn't have enough players, so we had a bunch of random people who came in, and I always play with the screen name Peppa Pig because of an inside joke, and one of the random people was like, "Start, you fat hog," and I was like, "It's my birthday, you can't say that." And I think it was just like my booktube birthday, but I was like, "You can't say that to me." And it was just such a funny moment. Of course, meeting my booktube friends in real life, fantastic. I also got to get back into doing D&D in person again. We also played Dread, which is kind of like D&D but horror, and you play it with a Jenga tower, and that was one of the funniest things we've ever done. That was so great. I played a gangster named Tony Ravioli, and let me tell you, it was a lot of fun. All right, it was a lot of fun. It was really, I don't know, I just think that being able to do the things that I do, and wake up every day and know that I have like this really cool community that I come back to is maybe not my favorite moment of 2021, but is a favorite thing that I have, that I think will continue into 2022 and hopefully forever, to be able to have this very special place that I can come back to. And I know that my friends are there, and I know that there's just always something cool and new that's happening. There is drama, but also there are a lot of very cool things, and I need to, remember that. I think we should all remember that amongst the, downfall of humanity with what's going on out in the world. There's still some good things that are still here. I've been talking for about an hour, so I am going to go drink some water and go to sleep. But I hope that you're having a wonderful rest of your day, and hopefully if you have any really cool goals or something, you can share them with me. I would love to hear what your 2022 goals are, and maybe I'll steal a few of them. Maybe you can steal a few of mine. Let me know. Happy New Year. Happy 2022. I hope that this is going to be a really wonderful, great new year. I am looking forward to it. No more coups. Hopefully, we'll see what happens. And that's it. From me, I'm Rachel. This is Let Me in the Library, and I will see you next time. Bye.